So Indiana Jones is easily one of my favorite movie series, and it's definitely my favorite adventure series. This franchise is my Star Wars, in the way that a lot of people love Star Wars and are super nostalgic about it and love the music and the characters and really dislike some more recent entries. Yeah, that's Indiana Jones for me. Those first three movies, especially the first, perfectly embody fun adventure films in my opinion. And then, yeah, there's that. So let's talk about them. Also, spoilers ahead for all of these films. I've put the times of the films in the description so you can skip around as you please. Alright, let's do this. So let's start off with one of my favorite movies of all time, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm just gonna open this by saying this is the perfect adventure movie. For me at least, no one's made a better one since. It is the quintessential fun action romp, and it gets everything right. Look, just some things here up front that can be said for pretty much the whole franchise, or at least the original three. The music by John Williams is phenomenal. If you've seen pretty much any of my other videos, you already know what I think of John Williams' music. At this point, there's really nothing new to say, just like all of his other soundtracks. It's just amazing, catchy, and it fits the character and film perfectly. Steven Spielberg's directing is great, and the film itself is just a total classic. There are so many iconic things in here that have now become staples in pop culture. And like I just said, this movie is the perfect adventure. There's just no other way to describe it. The heroes are great heroes, they're likable and fun to watch. The villains are great villains, they're despicable and you want to see them get taken down. And on that note, Indiana Jones, for me, is the perfect movie hero. He's charming, he's funny, he's a ladies' man, he's adventurous, he's brave, but he still does get scrappy and will fight dirty. He's got the one-liners.
Where shall I find a new adversary so close to my own level?
Try the local sewer.
This is what I wanted to be like when I was little, and still kinda do today. And as if it needs to be said, Harrison Ford fits the role perfectly. All the other performances are solid, from the main villain to Marion to small roles, everyone does a great job. The action in the film is also fantastic. It is over the top, but that just makes it fun. The set pieces are great, and the fight scenes are very creative, and there's a variety of action. There are fist fights, there are chases, it's got everything you'd want out of a film like this. The visual effects are nearly all practical from what I can tell, and the stunt work is spectacular. Some of the best movie stunts ever. The opening is incredible, it sets the tone for the movie and the franchise and introduces the character perfectly. The movie's quotable, it's funny, it's a great love story, it's a great adventure story, it's everything. I grew up with this, and still to this day, it totally holds up. Also, the ending where all of the Nazis' faces melt, it's super messed up, but it's also super awesome. Scarred me as a kid, but it's still a great scene. Overall, like I said at the start, this movie pretty much does everything right. As a fun adventure film and homage to old 30s action serials, it's flawless. There's nothing I don't like in this film. It's one of the films that made me love film. It's a great start to a franchise, and Raiders of the Lost Ark definitely gets a 10 out of 10. So now we've come to a somewhat controversial movie. There are quite a lot of people who hate Temple of Doom, but honestly, I think it's pretty great. Is it as good as Raiders? No, but I think there are a lot of really cool elements in here. When talking about this film, you have to address the tonal shift. And yeah, this movie is a lot darker than the first film. That first movie had some scary moments, but in this movie, there are child slaves, torture, people getting their hearts ripped out, a small boy getting smacked by the main hero, and the violence is stepped up too. Like yeah, that German Nazi guy probably got cut up pretty bad by that propeller, but at least he wasn't squashed to death by a giant rolling stone cylinder. And the thing that I find hilarious is that this film is still rated PG. From what I gathered, this movie actually helped to introduce the PG-13 rating, but seriously, nowadays stuff like Minions is rated PG, and as far as I remember, you don't see this kind of stuff in that movie. Also, this film is quite a bit scarier and grosser than the first movie. Like, as far as grosser, that scene with all the bugs is super disgusting to me. Like, this kind of stuff is my worst nightmare. Also, the monkey brain eating scene, that's here. And the villain in this is terrifying. Like, these Nazis and thieves are bad, but they probably don't literally want to rip your heart out. But still, all that said, I wouldn't necessarily consider those bad things. A different and risky kind of thing is great in a sequel if it's pulled off well, and it was here in my opinion. Because despite all that dark stuff, at its heart, this is still a fun adventure. It's still cheesy, pretty ridiculous at points, and just a ton of fun to watch. The action is still really awesome. It's more intense this time around. There's more of it, especially towards the end, and there are new, interesting kinds of action. Also, the opening of the film is spectacular. It's my personal favorite part of the film. The sets and visual effects are still fantastic. The only visuals that don't look that great are the green screen shots, but hey, it's from the 80s, so it's not that bad. And those shots are few and far between anyway. The cast is still solid. Harrison Ford is of course great again. As previously mentioned, the villain is pretty awesome. And while yes, Willie was pretty annoying at points, I didn't hate her. And they also didn't try to just do another Marion type character for the love interest. They changed it up a bit. Also, Short Round is pretty good too.
Hey, Dr. Jones, No time for love!
So overall, I really enjoy Temple of Doom. Is it my least favorite of the original trilogy? Yeah, but that just shows how good these movies are. That a movie this fun is my least favorite. This definitely isn't for really little kids, but I don't think there's anything in here that's that extreme. I'll give the Temple of Doom an 8.5 out of 10. Now we've arrived at The Last Crusade, which was meant to be the last Indiana Jones movie, and this will probably come as no surprise, but again, I love this movie. It does all the stuff the others do well. Great action, great performances, and it's ultimately just a great adventure. I know I've said the word adventure like 50 times in this video, but that is just how to describe Indiana Jones. This movie is still exciting, it's still very funny, it does all that Indiana Jones stuff well. But let's talk about the stuff that's specific to this film. Something I thought was really interesting was that in this film, we actually get to know more about Indiana Jones as a character. Like, he's super fun to watch in those other films, and he's this perfect hero, but we didn't really know that much about him as a person. Here, we get some backstory. The opening scene where we see young Indy is awesome. These movies always have great openings. And we're also introduced to his father. And while Sean Connery may have some strange opinions in real life, he is fantastic as this character. One of my favorite Indiana Jones characters by far. And this film, in addition to being a fun adventure, is also now a fun father-son story. It was also nice to see the Nazis back as the bad guys.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Also, Indiana Jones meeting Hitler was pretty hilarious. I also really like this movie's ending. Again, I love these kinds of trials where there's a series of challenges the heroes have to go through. Also, in the spirit of Raiders of the Lost Ark, the villain dies in a pretty messed up and scary way. So ultimately, this movie is great. It doesn't change up the style or tone as drastically as Temple of Doom, but more or less sticking to a kind of formula here really worked. Again, there's not much to say at this point. Like the others, this is just super fun and you should go watch it. I'll give Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade a 9.5 out of 10. The film is also a great conclusion. Every character story wraps up, you're left to imagine what kind of amazing adventures they might have had in the future. They ride into the sunset, the end. Or so we thought. And now, here we are. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. There are a lot of negative things I have to say about this film. However, let's start off with what I liked. The music is still pretty solid. The costumes, some of the sets, and some of the visual effects are pretty good. The movie does a good job of making you feel like you're in the 50s. There are some fun action bits and funny moments.
Here, hold this.
What?
That's my boyfriend!
Get that greaser!
The premise of Indiana Jones now fighting Russians in the late 50s is a good premise, and the cast isn't awful. I enjoyed most of the performances. Okay, those are the things I liked. Now for what I didn't like. There are a lot of things I want to talk about here, but one of the main problems I have with this film is that it doesn't feel like an Indiana Jones movie. I'll talk about the aliens in a sec, but I also gotta mention here, Harrison Ford does not feel like Indiana Jones to me here. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. In The Force Awakens, I was like, yeah, this is what Han Solo would be like when he got older. Here, however, I just didn't feel like I was watching Indiana Jones. I felt like I was watching Harrison Ford running around in an Indiana Jones costume. And yes, there is a difference there. Also, I just don't want to see my childhood hero as an old man. Or if you're gonna do that, at least make him fun to watch. This was just kind of depressing for me. As far as everyone else, again, I don't hate the cast. Cate Blanchett is pretty over the top as the villain, but it didn't really bother me. Marion's there, fine. Ollivander's there, fine. And I also don't hate Shia LaBeouf like a lot of people do. I find his off-screen antics pretty amusing, and he's fine in this. Although he doesn't really feel like Indiana Jones' son to me. More on that later. Another major complaint I have with this film though is how stupid it is. Like those other movies, yeah, they have their dumb moments, but you go, hey, it's Indiana Jones. It's supposed to be kind of silly sometimes. But here, it's just incredibly stupid. And hey, how about some aliens? Because that's what you want out of an Indiana Jones film. I mean, the Indiana Jones movies have always had some kind of spiritual, kind of religious element to them, but it never went full sci-fi.
What the hell is that?
A portal! Halfway to another dimension!
This isn't Indiana Jones, and it just doesn't fit in the series for me. Also, this CGI alien looks pretty bad at the end. The action and circumstances are also more ridiculous. Like, of course, there's the fridge nuke thing, which everyone has talked about at this point, but I mean, come on. There's also Shia LaBeouf fencing with the bad guy on top of a moving vehicle. Really? As someone who does fencing, I can say that's totally impossible. Hell, even someone who doesn't do fencing could tell you that. And of course, there's Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys. Side note, while the previous films used nearly all practical effects, this film relies a lot on CGI and green screen, and quite a bit of that doesn't look that great. And I also think that's one of the reasons that this action feels more unrealistic than the other Indiana Jones action. Because while it's always been a bit ridiculous, most of that stuff was actually done practically, and so it felt like it actually could be happening. Unlike here, where, especially towards the end, some of this just doesn't feel at all real, at least to me. Also, on that whole father-son dynamic, they clearly tried to transition Harrison Ford from the Indiana Jones role to the Sean Connery dad role here, and it just didn't work for me. And at the end, where it's implied that Shia LaBeouf is gonna become the new Indiana Jones, whatever, they're almost definitely not gonna do that now. So look, is this a terrible movie? No. There are semi-sequel, reboot-ish movies out there that are much worse. This film, as a whole, does quite a few things right, and to me at least, it does feel like some of the people in charge were trying to make a good movie. However, this is a personal review, and so as someone who has loved this franchise since he was young, this movie tears apart nearly everything I loved about the series and character. So I myself hate this on a personal level. If you took the character of Indiana Jones out of this, would I be a really big fan of it? Probably not, but I wouldn't dislike it as much as I do. However, Indiana Jones is in it, so I'm gonna give Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a 4.5 out of 10. I know to some people that may sound like a high score considering all the stuff I just said, but that's pretty low for me. So those were my thoughts on the Indiana Jones films. Which is your favorite and least favorite? Or rank them from best to worst in the comments below. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram at BHL_Hudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.